try to pull up the
So
file.
in the next, guys, in the next 5 seconds, we'll be live on YouTube. So thanks for your patience. So in the next 5 seconds, we'll be live on YouTube. So thanks for your patience. Right, so we have Paul online, which he'll be taking us beyond the Ethereum edge. If all your questions, you can always ask him. So we actually just to enjoy ourselves in the network and the little we can, and then we'll discuss further. Last week Saturday we had the Ethereum Nigeria edge event in Lagos. So we're having the beyond the edge now. We'll continue discussions. That's how we'll continue till we get to Bogota, Colombia. And as many of you that will be joining us, so well, sure. So Paul, you're welcome. And here are the ETH guys in Kaduna. You're live, and over to you.
All right. Very cool. I mean, thanks, boss. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me. And I mean, just wave your hand. Can you hear me? Give me a wipe.
I can hear you very
clear. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I mean, amazing community growing out there in Kaduna. Very cool. I've never been to Kaduna anyways, but I mean, one of these days I'm gonna try to come over there. It's like I was supposed to come over like this time, but then I had some stuff to do, but it's cool. It's nice. So my name is Paul, and basically I'm like a blockchain developer, and I do a lot of blockchain stuff, right? Currently my primary role is I have my own company, which is called the Me Protocol, and then I'm the CTO for this company, and we're doing amazing stuff. But then aside that, I mean, I also do some blockchain stuff for Zone. In case you don't know, Zone is I think it should be the biggest blockchain company in Nigeria. Anyways, what we are trying to do is to try to, route interbank transactions through the blockchain, right? So it's a very, very, very amazing stuff. And I wouldn't want to dabble into all of those details. But aside from that, I love teaching blockchain, okay? I mean, right now, I am also one of the blockchain instructors at the Pan Atlantic University, Lagos Business School. And then it's quite amazing. So this evening, we just want to really just talk about the merge and then talk about things, that we expect to see after the merge. Already the merge has happened. We already said some of those things. So without wasting much of your time, if you permit me, I'm going to share my screen and I'll just walk you through this. If you have any question, feel free to stop me at any point in time and just say, hey guy, what are you saying here? And I'll make it clear. Okay, so let me try to share my screen. So let me know if you can see my screen right now. Can you guys see my screen right now? Just give me a wipeout.
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay, perfect. Let me just move this stuff down. I mean, Zoom is always disturbing. Just move this stuff. So yes, the merge. So now, basically, I know you guys are badass now. You've told me your stories that you guys are badass devs, like pro devs. So you guys know all this stuff we're gonna say. And then the idea of this session is for us to actually interact. I don't really know everything in blockchain, right? So I'm coming to just share with you what I know and then coming to also learn from you, right? So it will be it should be, right? It should be an interactive session. Now, what are the things we'll be looking at for today quickly? We'll look at what the merge is all about. I mean, before we start talking about post-merge, we need to be sure that we are all on the same page with the merge, right? So what is this, the merge? And then once we look at that, we really try to ask the question, is the merge necessary? Is it necessary? Do we have to do the merge? And then are there consequences? Now that the merge has happened, are there consequences, side effects? And then we now move into the real thing, which is even going to be very short. What happens to developers after the merge? So maybe some of you guys out there are already writing code in Solidity or whatever language you are using right now to build on the Ethereum stack. What happens to you after the merge? and then we talk about any more of this. So this session is supposed to be very, very short in terms of my presentation. What should make it long should be our interaction, right? So feel free to stop me at any point in time to ask me questions, right? It's not like I'm lecturing or something. It's just because I'm far. If I were there, we would be interacting live, right? So let's get down to the whole thing. So what is the merge all about? I will just take like 10 seconds to pause, and I'll just, I don't know if there's anybody that would like to come to talk to us, what they think the merge is all about. Any volunteer, like anybody just want to say something about the merge? Don't fall my hand, guys. Don't fall my hand. I know you are eating, you are chilling, but I mean, somebody should just say something about the merge. Anybody? What do you think the merge is?
Just okay.
The merge okay. The merge is simply Ethereum upgrade from the proof of work consensus, proof of stake consensus. Yeah, that's the simple. That's the simple.
Perfect, perfect. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Like usually, when you come up sometimes to speak, try to tell me your name. Well, that's my guy over there. Good to see you. Okay.
Sorry, my name is Ibrahim Suleiman.
Ibrahim, good to see you. Good to see you finally. Like, I mean, it's cool, cool, cool. So, I mean, Ibrahim said it all. There's no need to try to talk too much about it. I mean, can you guys see my slide? You guys can see my slide, right?
Yes, we can see your slide.
Perfect. So the merge basically, I mean, we like to say was because it has happened, right? It's historical right now. So it was the joining of the original execution layer of Ethereum, which is the mainnet, with its new proof of stake consensus layer, which is the beacon chain, right? So just to like try to explain to you, prior to the merge, we know the normal Ethereum mainnet we had, right? Basically, the mainnet has the execution layer and the consensus layer. Basically, there are many components, but let's just, I mean, in terms of the premise of what we are talking about, let's just say the mainnet has the execution layer and the consensus layer, isn't it? So the consensus layer is that part that contains that handles the whole consensus algorithm stuff, right? And then, of course, I want to believe you guys have an idea of what consensus algorithms, like basically what they do, isn't it? So the idea is this: because the blockchain is decentralized, and when we say something is decentralized, it means there's no one central authority, isn't it? There are many computers or nodes that are connected to make this whole blockchain thing work, right? So compared to your, say, Google Cloud server now, that is just one big server, Google is the one controlling everything. Or say a Facebook server right now, or a Facebook company where they control all the stuff. The blockchain is decentralized. These nodes are like scattered across multiple places, isn't it? So the question is, all these nodes that are scattered, how do they agree to make a decision? Right? It's a very serious problem. If it's just one being, that is one entity that is making a decision, everything is easy now. But if you now have many components coming together to form a network, how do all these nodes, how do they agree? So the way they agree is what we call the consensus algorithm, right? I mean, there is always more to it, but just take my terms as like basic terms. So there's what we call the consensus algorithm. Now, prior to the merge, what we were running on Ethereum is the proof of work consensus algorithm. Basically, I know you guys are badass, you guys know all this stuff already, but just to provide a baseline for those who don't know, the proof of work basically like involves the nodes like competing to solve a mathematical problem. So the blockchain, the network raises a very difficult problem, and then everybody's competing to solve it. The first guy to solve it is going to be most likely the validator, right? Or the miner, or whatever you will have called it then. So the proof of work, now what basically is now proof, the merge. The merge is now the transitioning of that consensus algorithm whereby computers are given a very difficult problem. They have to solve it. The first to solve it is the guy that is going to mine, to another kind of consensus algorithm, which is what we call the proof of stake. In this proof of stake, yeah, basically what people need to do is the nodes just need to stake some amount of Ethereum, and then a node is selected out of the guys who stake, and that node is going to be the validator. So this is basically now what is happening with the merge. So it's the migration of that consensus layer. Don't forget, let's say the blockchain or the Ethereum network, the mainnet has the execution layer and the consensus layer. So the merge is basically changing the consensus layer from proof of work to proof of stake. So instead of making the nodes compete mathematically to choose who is going to mine, basically they just stake and a voting happens that selects who is going to validate, right? So this is basically what we call the merge. So the consensus layer has now changed to proof of stake. And then I just want to believe that is like kind of very clear, right? If you have any question, let me just pause for like 2 seconds. If you have any question, you can raise your hand. I mean, feel free to ask. If you don't ask, I will just continue to the next slide. Okay, I see there's no question, right? So let's just go to the next slide, and then you can see here, this is basically like a clear like picture of what it is, right? So this is, you guys can see my cursor, right? You can see my cursor on the screen, right? Give me a peace sign, yeah, if you can see my cursor. Okay, perfect. So this is basically like the proof of work part, right? And this is the proof of stake. So basically, the states and the transactions, the apps, the balances are still the same. They are still there, right? All the states that we have there are still there. That's why our apps that on the Ethereum network have not crashed. So, but what is just changing is the consensus, how we agree who validates the next block, right? Is basically what is changing with this. So we already talked about proof of work versus proof of stake. So I wouldn't like dabble more into that unless you have a question. So let me just pause again at this point. Do you guys have any question? Like anything you want to ask? Proof of work versus proof of stake, things around the merge. Okay, I can see hands. I can see a wiper there. So let's give the person the mic. No, okay, you're not asking a question. I should continue. Oh, perfect. I mean, you guys don't want to ask questions. You guys are scholars now. I heard your story, but let's just move on. So now the question right now is this. Of course, there are a lot of hidden times here that I didn't dabble to, like the beacon chain and all of those stuff, but it's fine, right? Since you guys are not asking, there's no need to, I mean, dabble into those stuff. So now, is the merge really necessary? That's the question. Why did we have to leave proof of work to proof of stake? Why did we have to do that? Is it necessary? So I think that's the major thing. People don't just do things because they are, well, let's add this feature. There's really like a use case, right? There's value driving action. So I don't know if you guys can see this chart. You can see the energy consumption of various software solutions, right? You can see YouTube, you can see gold mining, that's a process. You can see the Bitcoin proof of work network. You can see the Ethereum proof of work network. You can see Netflix. You can see gaming. You can see PayPal, and you can see the Ethereum proof of stake network. So the big problem right now. Okay, Sharumi Usman, you have a question. All right, perfect. Usman, you can go ahead to ask. Sorry.
Sorry. Good evening, sir. Please, my question is the beacon chain. This is my first time of hearing that kind of thing. Can you please explain in brief?
Okay, perfect. So Sharumi wants me to go back to the beacon chain. Now, look at basically this diagram. Basically says a lot about it. So remember, Ethereum has the mainnet, basically, which was running all this while, and then Ethereum wanted to move to proof of stake, isn't it? So now Ethereum guys, they are very diligent, and this is why I love these guys. I love us as Ethereum. I mean, you guys joining this community, we are part of the Ethereum community. So this is the guys building this thing, and they are very smart. So there are some other blockchains I wouldn't want to mention them. Basically, when they want to make a change, they will just tell you, we are making this change next month, and they just flip the switch and make this change, right? So, but what the Ethereum guys did is, this proof of stake network that we have right now, they decided to build it first. And I think it started around 2020. So I think sometime late 2020, they built this proof of stake that we have moved to right now. And that is what they call the beacon chain. So they built it and they were testing it, checking it, just making sure that everything was right. So until September this year, they decided to say, okay, look, everything is good. We can now merge the beacon chain to the mainnet that we already have. So that beacon chain is that proof of stake consensus layer, the chain that handles that proof of stake consensus layer. That's what we call the beacon chain, right? So the idea was just that they built it in 2020 and they were running it for 2 years before finally merging it to what we have right now. So I don't know if I was able to answer your question, Sarumi.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. What about the sharding? The sharding.
Yes, I will come to sharding. Let's just keep moving, right? But apart from sharding, do you have any other question?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Right. Perfect. So let's continue. I'm not no sir. I'm like a bro like you. So there's no sir in this stuff. I'm a bro like you. So now you can already see what's happening here right now. Ethereum is already consuming, I think, about 112 terawatts a year. Of course, this is not up to what YouTube is taking, but don't forget, Ethereum's vision is to be the world's computer, right? Right now, the internet right now is running on separate platforms. I mean, some guys are using Google's server, some guys are using Amazon AWS service, some guys are using Microsoft Azure. People are running the web on various centralized servers, right? But the vision of Ethereum is that bulk of the transaction, even if not all the transactions, bulk of the transactions will be running on the one world computer, which is Ethereum. And Ethereum has not even gotten to that stage yet. The transaction running on Ethereum compared to what's going on Google is so small. MasterCard is processing a huge amount of transactions right now, like maybe over 5,000 transactions per second. And Ethereum is processing maybe as low as 20, right? Basi, can you mute me? Sorry. Basi, can you mute? It's kind of noisy for me.
Okay. I'm sorry, please.
Yeah.
All
right, perfect. Thank you so much. So MasterCard is processing like 5,000 transactions per second, and Ethereum is just doing like maybe 20, and it's consuming this amount of power. Just imagine Ethereum now starts to scale to some extent, or more transactions starts routing through Ethereum, or Ethereum actualizes that vision of being the one world computer. What's going to happen? That thing is going to explode. So because of this, it was very expedient for them to really try to figure out how do we solve this energy consumption problem. The proof of work is energy intensive. I mean, if you guys ask me, I can tell you why, right? So, but the proof of work consensus algorithm is energy intensive, like crazy. So they needed to just leave it. Otherwise, in the next few years, the problem is that the energy keeps increasing. I mean, in fact, one of the reasons why I buy Bitcoin is because of this proof of work. But I wouldn't, if you ask me, I will tell you why. But there's no need to say that anyways. But just to show you that the energy of proof of work basically is very, very huge. And this energy is not just going to stay at 112. It's going to keep increasing as the difficulty of the mathematical problem increases. Meaning the energy required to solve the problem will also keep increasing. So this is not feasible when we want to scale, right? And then, of course, there are a lot of other barriers in terms of the more difficult the problem. That means it's only those with a computer that has higher computational capability are most likely to get transactions mined. So normal guys like us that don't have so much billions of dollars to buy a very powerful computer would not be able to mine transactions. That means Ethereum will be gearing towards centralization, right? Difficulty increases, electrical consumption increases, computational power increases. Only those who could afford to buy those big computers can mine, can validate transactions. So it was a really big consideration, and Ethereum needed to move to proof of stake. Because with proof of stake, you can see what's happening. The energy has dropped by about 99.95%, right? At least in theory. Basically, there's still a lot of research going to validate if that has actually happened. But already you can see what has happened. This thing dropped drastically. PayPal right now is even taking more energy than Ethereum, the world's computer. So this is pretty amazing. And the chances that this will go up is less because why? It's a selection process. It's not an iterative process. So this is one of the major reasons why we needed to do this merge, because if energy consumption keeps increasing, then Ethereum is not feasible, right? It's not feasible for adoption. So yes, all right. Anybody has any question on this? Because this is like one of the reasons why we really needed to do this merge. Anybody with any question on this? Okay, I can see the soft guy there on Jane raising his hands. Can we give him the mic? Sorry, I think he has a question. Okay, are you asking your question, because I can't see anything right now. The way this guy is laughing, it's like he wants to kill me with that question. But no, God did for me.
Can you hear me now? Okay,
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. I can hear you.
Okay, so I've built on several blockchains, and
Perfect.
personally, I'm not really a fan of proof of stake, and I'll just say some feedbacks, then I would want to hear from your own point of view on the matter. So it's not. So for me, like for the energy consumption, I understand that, yeah, the consumption is going high, but then let's be realistic. Like, as much as the energy is going high, there are certain mechanisms that are put in place to improve the consumption rate. One, two, because of how consumption rate is going high, certain countries are actually they produce more energy than they need. And then because of that, Ethereum or Bitcoin actually make them save energy instead of wasting it like that. So for me, I was thinking someone here. And
Sorry, I lost you for a minute there. I got your first question, which was like there are some ways to manage this energy consumption stuff, right?
Yes, instead of us moving to the proof of stake. Then also, like for the proof of stake, like
let me get how many points have you dropped right now? The first one is that there are ways to manage the energy consumption, right?
Yes, I mean, I believe there are a lot of countries around the world that waste energy in the sense that they produce more than they can. And we've seen most around them migrate countries to tap into that energy side. And then even if they don't do that, there are budget allocations that support the consumption of energy in that country, and then make adjustments to make that possible. I mean, there are a lot of articles that talk about that. So, and then from this graph, it just shows that it's not even up to Bitcoin still. And then I know that there are a lot of people using Ethereum more than Bitcoin right now. It's more of a statement than a question, I think. So, but the first question is, 2 months ago, I did something around.
But I can't hear you. That thing's breaking. Can you move closer to the screen? I think it would be better if you move closer to
but the mic is here now.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Is it much better?
Yeah, but it has been breaking, but I've been trying to piece your statement, but I think it's better right now. Just continue.
Okay. Okay, so one of the issues that I had with proof of stake is more or less the security, like security tests for certain blockchain and certain blockchain protocols, and then we're able to override the system. So I understand that, yes, they've been testing it around for 2 years, but come on, like, it's not broken. Like, something is not broken. So why are people trying to fix a problem that doesn't seem like an issue? I mean, the only justification of this merge is it's only the energy consumption, because number one, it doesn't increase the speed of transaction. Number two, it doesn't actually reduce the gas fee. I mean, like, I'm pissed, but then I understand. And then to justify my understanding is like, oh, they're trying to have like good publicity or whatever. So I'm speaking to you as a concerned user. I mean, I assume you are one of the core developers. It's like, guy, what's up? What happened? You get?
Yeah. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me turn on my window. Let me open my window because the power just went off and it's getting hot here. Just give me like 1 minute. Yeah, all right, I'm back. You're gonna bear with me because I'm gonna start sweating like pretty easily because the power is out and then it will take time for the place to get you. But it doesn't matter. Like we are together now. We run this stuff. So let me start with the first one you said, the ways to manage the energy. First of all, the energy consumption problem is not a small problem. It's not Ethereum trying to look good. It's a problem that must be solved. Now, why must the problem be solved? The problem must be solved because as the block numbers keep increasing, the difficulty of the blocks keep increasing. So that means if they don't solve this problem, there will be a time where maybe there is not going to be any computer that can even solve the mathematical problem, right? So that's like one thing. I just want you to think about this from a business side. Like MasterCard right now is processing 5,000 transactions per second. We are saying everybody wants to move to Web3, and Web3 is going to be the decentralized internet, right? Hope we know why we really want to move to Web3, right? Let me just give a quick background. Web1, we could read only, right? Web2, we can read and write. The promise of Web3 is that we can read, we can write, and we can own. Every single thing you have on Web2, you don't own them right now. Think of everything you have on Web2. Your certificate that you uploaded to Google Drive, you don't own it right now. It's not your own. It is owned by the network that is providing that server. For example, Google Drive is provided by Google, right? So Google owns your certificate inside Google Drive because if Google shuts down, you've lost everything you have in the drive. Even your account balance that you have with the banks, you don't own them. If the server managing your bank, if the guy is providing the server infrastructure for your bank, if they crash today, you've lost all the money you have in your bank. So you don't own anything right now on the web. So the promise of Web3 is that you can own things. You can truly own things in a decentralized way. So if Ethereum is big, Ethereum is the world's computer. I mean, Web3 is coming to replace this kind of internet we have right now. It's not going to be only Ethereum. There will be other solutions that will make it happen. But the idea is that there's no central server like Google or Amazon that everybody's connected to. Rather, everybody's connected in a decentralized fashion. If Ethereum must achieve this vision, then they must solve the energy consumption problem. The energy will keep increasing forever and ever and ever to the point where they will no longer be validators. There will not be any computer that can mine that thing, that can get it solved. So I want you to see it from this perspective that it's not a small problem, it's a big problem. So right now you were saying maybe there are some countries that produce more energy. Then the beautiful thing about proof of stake is let them now use their energy for even better things. Because if they were using it to just for validating a block, do you know how much energy that Ethereum consumes for one transaction? It's bigger than what a household of US consumes in 24 hours. This is so crazy and so unnecessary, right? So just to show you, I just want to first of all lay down a foundation that the energy problem must be solved. If it's not going to be solved this year, it's going to be solved in the next 5 years or 10 years, but it has to be solved. Otherwise, blockchain will just be like something that's not feasible. Just like energy keeps increasing until the energy is even bigger than the total energy inside the earth, right? Imagine that kind of scenario. So that's so crazy and it needs to be solved. So if I've laid down the premise, then let me come back to, I will go to the last one first before I come to the comparison with Bitcoin, right? The one you were saying in terms of security. Following the same notion, proof of work is not even so secure as you think about it. Of course, there are other things like the nothing at stake problem and all those things, right? Which I will come back to, right? But coming back in the direction of centralization, which I believe is where your argument will be coming from. Proof of work is not secure. Look at, if you go on Etherscan right now and check the miners that are validating transactions, they are heavily centralized because difficulty level has increased to the point whereby only powerful computers can mine transactions. And then these mining guys, what they now did is they now came together, they built a very large farm. It is their own set of computers that are validating transactions. So it is centralized because the more the difficulty, the more powerful the computer that will solve that problem should be, isn't it? And only those who could buy those computers or get those computers in place will be able to mine transactions. You and me will not even be able to partake in that system. It will be the super powerful guys, right? So in terms of centralization, proof of work itself is driving even faster towards centralization than proof of stake, because the time will come, it will be maybe IBM or say a Google that has a super powerful computer or quantum computer that will be able to validate transactions on the blockchain. You and me can no longer connect our phones to validate, because the vision of Ethereum is that you should be able to connect your phone and be a validator. You should be part of the peer-to-peer network. Every single person, you're in the metaverse, I plug in my device, I'm part of the peer-to-peer network. That's the vision of blockchain. That is the blockchain that can scale. Any other blockchain that takes that only those with super powerful computers can be part of the network cannot scale, can never be decentralized in the long run. So I've laid out a second premise, but you want to say something to that? Let me just quickly hear from you, right? Yeah, cool.
All right. So you made some valid points. But then, like, if you're talking about for proof of stake, like the last time I checked, proof of stake is based on bidding for you to be a validator. So now let's say for the past few months, I've been buying a lot of Ethereum, and then I already have over 1,000 wallets that basically hold 40% of the Ethereum coin. Perfect. And I applied to be a validator. You guys have to approve me because I have more coins than any other person. So now the question is that
that's not how it works, right? That's not how it works. But continue.
No. Like there are certain ways on how proof of stake works. So my other question is that, are you doing is the proof of stake, and this is coming from a point of ignorance because I've never read how the proof of stake for Ethereum is going to look like. But like another side is that, is it based on a deposit and then the system selects from all those that have staked to be validators or whatever? And then again, even if it's that way and you approve somebody, now this place already opens a new problem where a validator can go rogue and try to, I don't know, mess up the system by approving things that are not right. I mean, the worst that Ethereum will do is to burn his coin, but then he has done the damage. And before the damage is being done, a lot of things have happened, and then people complain. Like, I mean, like, is it really worth it? And am I speaking from ignorance, or there's a truth to what I'm saying?
Okay, perfect. So now let me start first of all with the one of the staking stuff. So just can you hear me? So just to first of all come back to, I always like to lay foundation and write from that foundation, right? Just see it already. No, apart from some other complex concept like nothing at stake, which I will still talk about. Already, I want you to see proof of work as a different kind of proof of stake, as an already rigged proof of stake. So the same way people stake Ethereum on proof of stake is the same way people just see it this way. It's not really this way, but I like to use this analogy. It's the same way people have to stake computers in proof of work. So in proof of work, already the big guys have won. You can't argue that because you can't get super powerful computers like they do. So that's clear. Now coming back to proof of stake, in proof of stake, the big guys have not won. Why? Because there's an amount of ETH, 32 ETH. Anybody can raise 32 ETH. Even you can raise 32 ETH by crowdfunding right now. You have your 32 ETH, you are part of the validators. So even if someone has 1 billion ETH, you have 32 ETH, you are part of the validators. So already the proof of stake give everybody an entry point. You don't need to have a very super powerful computer. You don't need to own a vast amount of land. You don't need to, it's not rigged already. It opens the floor for everybody to come in, right? So I can come in, you can come in, everybody can come in. Now, when it comes to the concept of finality, which is what you are talking about right now, that someone can do something and it's wrong. Even when you try to hack the system and what you are doing is malicious, they say something called a concept of finality. Even if you do a malicious stuff, it does not mean the damage will be done because finality has to be reached first. before you can say what you have done is valid. So that's very tricky. So I do a malicious stuff. Finality has not been reached. I lose my stake. So you're not even sure if finality will be reached. So, but there's a difficult one called nothing at stake, which I will talk about right now, later when we get to that part, right? But first of all, I just like to always bring to people that proof of work already cannot work, because it's already like a very kind of funny kind of proof of stake where people, only the big guys are already qualified. I mean, right now, in the early days, a lot of guys could mine Ethereum. Right now, if you like, connect your computer to the node, it's only luckily that you'll be able to mine something, because the mining pools are the guys getting it right now, right? But already proof of stake provides a way for everybody to enter. You don't even need to have a super powerful computer. Get 32 ETH. I can crowdfund 32 ETH now for my friends. I connect and we all start validating immediately. Doesn't mean every time it will fall on us, but sometimes it falls on us. So it's already opens the door for infinite. So forget about it right now. It's some of course right now, that's part of the challenges right now. Right now, some guys who already are at the beginning are the ones doing it. But look at that future that is coming whereby anybody can now do it easily. You can do it, I can do it, any single, even from my phone. I just crowdfund, hey guys, because if you think about it right now, Ethereum with this proof of stake is a short business. I always like to use analogy that there's no business in this world that is sure. Even if you invest in some business right now, you can lose your money. Business can fail, right? You buy a car, the car can crash. You build an house, anything can happen. But with the staking stuff, you are getting your staking reward. It's sure. So, but that's on the business side. Don't let me go to that side. But just to point back to you right now that proof of stake opens the door for everybody to come in. And because it opens the door for everybody, at the beginning, maybe it might be the guys who had before. It's okay. We are not even looking at right now. We are looking at next few years. But proof of work is already closing the door for everybody to come in. You and me now cannot be validated on the proof of work, right? We can't even be, because do I have the land? How many acres of land do I have to be the mining pool? It's very crazy. So already proof of work is like the energy consumption alone. We need to solve that one, because it's like you are consuming, energy keeps growing year in, year out. Look at next 10 years when the energy has exploded. Or maybe all the nations together cannot even validate one Ethereum transaction. That's crazy already, right? And then, but proof of stake is way, way more secured in terms of decentralization. At the beginning, it might be a little scary because maybe those who had it before are the ones, but just give us next few months, you'll be surprised everybody is taking. A lot of people are taking, right? All right, and already proof of work, only those with mining pools right now are validating. So I don't know if I was able to at least cool your mind, because I know when you were asking me, you were wanted to punch me. But right now, maybe I've been able to just calm you down small to see how proof of stake is. Yeah. Let me just add one more thing. Ethereum has been looking into proof of stake since 2014. These guys are very smart guys. These guys are there are many blockchains right now, but all those blockchains are like scrap. I will show you what we call the blockchain trilemma. We are going to see it right now. They're like scrap because they want to make a change. They just jump into it tomorrow. I don't want to mention it. They have a change today. They just jump into it tomorrow. Ethereum has been researching proof of stake since 2014. Built Bitcoin chain 2020. Analyzed it for 2 years. This is what we call diligence. It's not like some guys that will wake up tomorrow. They say we want to turn off our network. How would they not hack your blockchain? Man, guys, Ethereum guys are like, when it comes to blockchain, right, those guys are the most meticulous. Of course, the Polkadot guys are still there. There's Polkadot, which another very diligent guy. And there's also Cardano. So but Ethereum really has proven and has stood the test of time. So I don't know if I can continue my brush. Can I go on? I'm sweating right now, man. This is auto. AC has gone off. But bear with me. So now, the other reason why we needed to do the merge, I mean, this guy was saying something, my guy, even though he didn't tell me his name, he was saying something like Ethereum doesn't solve transaction speed, doesn't reduce gas fee. Is it leaving already? Shit. All right. So, but he was saying something like Ethereum doesn't solve transaction speed, doesn't solve the gas fee problem, and all of those stuff. But the truth is that this migration to proof of stake has already laid the foundation for those scaling. if we didn't move to proof of stake, we wouldn't even be able to solve this problem in the first place.
Hello, Paul.
Yeah.
Hello, Paul.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you
Please
hear
just give us like 2 minutes, please.
me? Okay, perfect.
2 minute,
Perfect.
2 minute break. 2 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Okay, guys, quickly. Yeah, Paul, thanks for your patience. Stuart, please, over to you.
All right, all right. Um, can you guys hear me? You guys can hear me, right? Can you guys hear me? Just give me like a peace sign if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect, perfect.
Sure, yeah.
All right. So, I mean, feel free to ask more questions. I mean, it's always nice when we talk about this stuff. We try to clarify some stuff, right? So now, again, the merge lays the foundation for those future scaling we want to see. The faster transaction per second, the lower gas fees, the merge lays the foundation for them, right? It doesn't really mean Ethereum will solve all those problems on its own. Of course, there will be layer 2 blockchain solutions also coming in, but the merge lays the foundation for those. So this is one of the reasons why we needed to do the merge. Ethereum, see Ethereum again, like the world's computer. I always like to use that word. Ethereum is the world's computer. The whole world is running transaction on Ethereum, isn't it? Of course, Ethereum is not alone, right? It's not like one computer. It's made up of many computers from different people connected to form one computer, which is the idea of decentralization. For it to run all those transactions, it must scale. Transaction per second must be high. If imagine all transactions routing through Ethereum, transaction per second must be high. It must scale in terms of the gas fees must be low. So all these vision that we really want to achieve, the merge doesn't solve them, but it lays the foundation to solve them and also provide way to empower layer 2 solutions, at least with the next upgrades that will come in, which I will show you. Then the last thing I really want to talk about in this space, which I've spent a lot of time, is the scalability trilemma. I really wish the other guy was here before he left. So, but then the scalability trilemma is always blockchains, all blockchains basically, at least right now, because this space is evolving. Tomorrow, there could be a blockchain that solves all these problems at once. But one of the biggest problems blockchains basically have right now is this scalability trilemma problem. I mean, a blockchain seeks to be decentralized, to be secured, and to be scalable. A true blockchain, I mean, when I say true, don't let me use the word true, but like an optimal blockchain should have these three features: should be decentralized, should be secured, and should be scalable. So, but the thing is this, these three things are very difficult to achieve. A blockchain can be decentralized and secured, but not scalable. Another blockchain could be secured and maybe scalable, but it's not decentralized, right? Which doesn't really make it so secured, but anyways. Another blockchain could try to be decentralized, scalable, but not secured. So there's always one trade-off in between it. So that's why you see some other blockchains, they are very fast, they are processing multiple transactions per second, but maybe they are not decentralized enough, or maybe they are not secured. That's why they are being hacked as much as possible. So Ethereum on its own really values decentralization and security. And that's why you can see that Ethereum, the hacks on Ethereum are very, very low. Very, very low, right? They will be hacks, obviously, but they are low. We don't hear of them so often. But then a lot of other blockchains, they are hacks here and there every time. So this is always, once you think of a blockchain, just know that these three problems, they are there. And to achieve any one, sometimes you might need to trade off some. So, but right now, with the merge, well, Ethereum is somewhere here, obviously not scalable, but Ethereum has a vision to marry these three together. Ethereum has a vision to marry. Of course, right now, Ethereum is still not scalable, but then there are other upgrades that will make it scalable. But when it comes to security, Ethereum is secured. When it comes to decentralization, Ethereum is decentralized. And this scalability, right now, we are not even feeling it too much because they are now what we call layer 2 solutions, right? So those layer 2 solutions are helping us handle all the scalability. And this is why Ethereum is still very, very useful, right? Layer 2 solutions are helping us with scalability. And then the other guys, Ethereum itself is providing the security and decentralization. So Ethereum is still valid anytime. But then on the base layer itself, Ethereum is not so scalable right now. But that's not much of a problem because we have layer 2 solutions and even ZK rollups. So But anyways, let's not dabble into technical terms. We just leave those ones. Now, some other misconceptions which we already pointed out. The merge is going to lower gas fees. That's not true, right? I mean, the merge has happened. We've seen it. The merge will increase transaction speed. That's not true. So when you're reading an article, you say the merge will make Ethereum transaction jump over 100,000 of. I mean, you see people posting this article, you're like, yeah, I have fun. What are you posting? Sure, but this is not true. All these stuff here are not true. Just to lay some. Now, what are the negative consequences? Yes. I know the other guy would like this one. This is the merge that happened. What are the possible negative consequences that could happen? There are a lot of talks. The first big one is initial weak decentralization. So at the beginning, those who already have Ethereum are the guys that can try to validate. Those who already have accumulated it, right? Or those who have missed. Of course, one of the reasons why Ethereum needed to have the beacon chain in 2020 is to allow for that for multiple people to start staking already, so that the system can be decentralized enough, right? That's the idea. If that's one of the ideas. So already before they even turned on the merge, the system is already decentralized to a reasonable extent, right? So, but even at that, there are still some corporations that have a huge amount of shares of the whole validation pool of the staked ETH. So there are some corporations that have, but this is just at the beginning. So this like Kelvin, because like I don't know.
What's up?
So then the other thing is of course the other big one on the financial side is, will Ethereum be a security token? So these are more financial talks, but trust me, there are professors, a lot of guys that are talking about this, and it's going to be settled. Of course, it has nothing to do with the network or the technology. It's just in time of security. You know what a security token is, right? Do you guys know what security tokens are? When I say a token is a security token, anybody knows what a security token is? Just give me like this if you know, or give me like this if you don't know, so that I can. Okay. How do I explain it? But you guys, do you know XRP? You heard of XRP? Did you guys out of XRP? Do you know XRP?
Yes.
If you know XRP, just give me thumbs up. Like if you're out of XRP. Okay, you know there was a time XRP they said they were a security token for some reason or the other. Okay, don't worry, don't let me dabble into that conversation so that I don't even confuse you more. So, but this is another one. But trust me, a lot of people are debunking this right now, and then they are professors, but it's more on the business side. So right now, these are the two major things. Of course, this initial weak decentralization has a lot of things inside of it. Like the other thing I always like to call anything at stake problem. There's something called anything at stake problem that happens with all proof of stake consensus algorithm. But Ethereum has a method, of course, called slashing to solve this problem. But slashing again is not so optimal, because what slashing basically does is to slash what you have staked. But if the guy was successful, even after the slashing has occurred, then there is a trouble. But this is also bearing on the fact that it is just at the initial stage. At the later stage, there's not going to be any problem, right? So I don't want to dabble into it. So slashing is totally different from the core proof of stake itself. Proof of stake, there's not going to be much trouble, right? Because of finality. But with nothing at stake, which is something else that happens with proof of stake, then there's just a minor chance of trouble. But as the network keeps increasing, those troubles will be taken out. I mean, if you ask me questions, I will talk more about those terms, right? Now, this is the one we have been waiting for now. So what are the implications for developers? I mean, after this merge right now, we as developers, what has changed for us? So first of all, just to, break the ice, not to put too much in suspense, the merge is designed to have minimal impact on Ethereum, on how Ethereum operates for end users and smart contracts and dApp developers. So you build your smart contract utility, a lot of things, like very tiny things have changed. Nothing much has changed. The execution layer is still heavily the same, right? So nothing much has changed, but there are some minor changes. So don't expect like so much changes. Of course, the first one you would observe is the duplication of some testnet environments. So if you were decided experimenting with Solidity, maybe you were using Rinkibi, you were using Robstein, you were using all those test nets, right? There are some companies that even have some solutions on those test nets. Most of those test nets have been deprecated, right? I think Goerli is still up and running, but most of those test nets have been deprecated, right? Then the other one is possible rare change in some protocols. This is almost zero, but there are some very peculiar protocols that have some slight changes that you need to make, right? Because of the way they are relating directly with the blocks, right? Maybe you're using GraphQL right now with subgraph. There'll be some very slight minor changes that could be there. And there's some other protocols that are closer to the block that would have some very, very minor changes, right? But very, very rare, very, very extremely rare. Only those that are dealing with the blocks and those that have to do things with MEVs, right? Minor, very, very rare changes. Now, the other thing we should expect, which is a very positive one, is the block time. The block time on proof of work was not clear, but we knew in 13 seconds, at least on an average. But with proof of stake right now, it is clear. Every 12 seconds, we have a new block, unless that validator does not show up at that point when it's needed. So every 12 seconds, we have a new block. And then in terms of finality, things on finality has changed. But I think you guys will be bored if I start talking about those things. So, but we have things called finality. The finality has changed to an extent. And then safe ed, we have other things called safe ed to also a kind of finality anyways. And we have other things we call weak subjectivity. But all those things, I think would bore you completely. So I wouldn't talk much about them. So, but these are some of the minor things that have changed. I think I have here a link, and the link here is actually opened. You guys will see that stuff. Let me just click on the link here. So you guys can use this link and then you will see all the minor changes that basically have happened. There are not many at all, just some minor stuff that you guys can see. So yes, we are now heading to the last slide right now. So after this demerge, what are the other things we are expecting basically? We have the surge, we have the verge, we have the purge, and we have the splurge. So these are like some of the other things like we are expecting to also take place. So basically, let me hear from you guys right now. Just feel free to ask a question. I can see, I mean, people are going home because it's getting dark and everybody's like tired or so. I mean, ask your questions right now. I've talked a lot about the merge. I've talked about some very minor developer changes that we should expect. And then, yeah. So let me hear your questions right now. Anybody with any question? I mean, you guys should ask your questions. I mean, you should ask your questions. The guy that usually asks questions has gone. Feel free to ask your questions, like if there's anything. You guys should ask your questions, like if you have any question. Okay, I think, okay. Yeah, my boss wants to ask a question. I can't hear you, like. A lot of people have gone since we tried. So, any question, anybody? Any question? So, I mean, you guys
can you hear us?
I can hear you, boss, perfectly well.
Yeah. At the moment, no questions. So let's. At the moment, no question.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay, perfect. So, well, I think from my end, there's really nothing much to say. The merge is exciting. If you're a developer, I already shared with you like some of the very few expectations. It's there on the Ethereum website. It's not like I know this thing from heaven. Right? It's there on the Ethereum blog. And then when you want to find out any real updates, always check the Ethereum blog itself. Don't go out there and start consuming content from so many people. People write their own things, right? Don't forget in Web2, anyone can write, right? So people could write and post their own content out there, and you think that's the truth. Always go to Ethereum blog and check. The guys at Ethereum are very smart guys. They are very meticulous guys. They wouldn't turn on proof of stake if proof of stake was not worth it, right? It's clear that it's worth it. And the merge has happened. And I'm particularly very, very excited with the merge. There are a lot of things, I mean, you do with block timing right now on the code level that are very, very smooth and clean. So it's quite, I mean, it's quite amazing for me. And then we are really looking to that future of what we see. And I know with the merge, Ethereum is getting to that future that we really dream of seeing. It's not going to be perfect right now. It does not mean there will not be another better consensus algorithm that will come. It does not mean there will not be better solutions out there or better Web3 products out there. But with the merge, it makes Ethereum maintain its position, at least right now. I don't think there's any other blockchain right now. Maybe apart from maybe something like Polkadot that is also trying to be layer 0. Other blockchains right now are still going to learn from Ethereum over the years. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. It was amazing. My boss, hope you took some photos, I beg, so that I can also share. It's always amazing. Hope you took some
we can snap with him, right? Like,
he's like, honestly,
yeah, we could stop with him.
Hold on.
Yeah, just hold on a little bit.
I mean, go online if you.
All those joining us on the Google, on the Zoom, on the YouTube, you could stop sharing your screen. So let's with the online participant. I know lots have joined, and please, can you guys just put on your video? I want to see you. Emmanuel, where are you? I want to see you. The Biosa man. David, Kudos, you're here. I can see you. Kudos, let me see your face. Kelvin, Basi,
David is here. Boss Dave. Good to see you here.
Kudos, can I see you? Basi, you're the one playing that song for us, Abby. Kelvin and Tony, Kudos, you're joining twice. Okay. Yes, quickly, guys. Put on your video. I want to snap with you guys. Okay, just have like 30 seconds, sir. Okay, how do we go about this? Beside, okay. And just capture this Kaduna banner with them, chef. Yeah, I think with them. Yeah, thanks, Samuel. I can see you. David, can I see you? I'm not in a good position. Hey, let's see your position. The good house. Who exit you? Let's see your position. Kelvin, let me see your position. Yes, thanks for joining us. So we'll be doing more of this content, you know, back to back. So how we going to do it now? How snapping? You snapped it. You snapped it. Okay, I think fine. With us, you snapping with us. Very quickly with us. Yeah. All right, file counts 2, 1, 2. Okay, thanks so much. We'll be bringing this event to a close. I want to appreciate all the online participants. First, I must appreciate my colleagues, our mentor. Yeah, you want to tell us about the bootcamp? Paul?
Okay, yeah. So, well, guys, just to also add, like, I mean, Ethereum community here in Nigeria, which is Ethereum Nigeria, will be rolling out our bootcamp also, I mean, very soon to, I mean, expose people into this space, right? I mean, my boss can talk more about this, but then we have a vision to encapsulate people, not just developers, right? Everybody that can be relevant in the Web3 space. So, of course, the developer one is almost clear and it's taking shape. And then we really, really want to see you guys there. Like, just join our community, follow us on Twitter, I think maybe they will drop the Twitter link and make it available on Telegram and all of that. By October, this bootcamp is gonna start, right? This is huge in the Web3 space to be trained in the Ethereum community itself. I mean, there are a lot of people training, but it's different when you are trained in the Ethereum community. So this is amazing. I don't know, my boss, I mean, you will say this better than me anytime. So I hand over to you to just, I mean, talk more about it.
Thanks. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're looking at beyond the merge, beyond the Ethereum merge. So one of those things we'll be saying is to populate a lot of us into the ecosystem. So our strategy is through the bootcamp. So as you join our Slack, as you join, like, for the online participants, Emmanuel, how do you capture it? Can you quickly drop a link so that we could just gather the people online now? I think some of them have gone, but let's see how we could. Please, your voice is not audible. Oh, can you hear me, please? Sorry.
Yeah. I can hear you
Okay.
loud.
Yeah, Emmanuel, can you please drop a form so that we could capture the online participants? So for those, if you're interested for the bootcamp, so we could always communicate to you. We actually plan to start with 50, so we scale it across, but we can as well increase as we get more support. Other informations we'll be sending it via email. So we'll be bringing this meeting to a close. We want to thank the Kaduna community for making our time to be here. It's been an awesome moment, seriously. So we hope to scale this event to a more larger house. Thanks all the leaders that have made our time, and everyone, my team who have been behind, we're doing a lot of work. Also thank Ethereum for sponsoring this event. A lot. So I think we'll see you guys in Colombia, right, Paul? Let's book our flights. I mean, alarm for Bogota since.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. By also, man. All right. Okay. Yeah. So we're ending it from here. Let's say bye.
Bye-bye.
So the online participants, Emmanuel. Oh, yeah, Manuel, the online participants, can you